Welcome to Coast Vue, the show that every single day celebrates the men and women who are making coastal Mississippi such an amazing place to live, work, and play. Hey, I want to share a quick quote with you before I go to today's show. Laurie Burnich Alley posted this on Facebook, and I thought it was really good. Let's see. I got to get my life together. This damn heat made me realize I can't go to hell. I thought that was pretty good. We're fortunate in coastal Mississippi. We've got so many dedicated people here who are doing amazing things. I had the opportunity yesterday to have a terrific conversation with Senator Jeremy England from Jackson County. Extraordinarily well read, just a bright young senator. He's a lawyer. He's very conservative, but at the end of the day, he's willing to vote his conviction, and he does his homework. And it was just a terrific conversation. If you missed it, you ought to go to Facebook or YouTube and take a listen to it. Also had the opportunity to have a really good conversation with Louis Scametta from the Ship Island Excursions. And, what that family has done through the generations has been really remarkable. I mean, Ship Island, first of all, is just such a jewel off our coast, but this family's been dedicated to ferrying people there over so many years. And he said that the reason they do it, certainly it's a business, but they don't make nearly as much money as you would think they make because of hurricanes and storms and the Bonnet Carré Spillway and all the things they have to deal with. They just love it. They love seeing tourists see it for the first time and take it all in, and that keeps them motivated. And again, generationally, they've been super committed. And if you missed my conversation with Fred Hayes, the Apollo 13 astronaut, on Wednesday, you got to go take a listen to that. We tried to cover some ground you haven't heard before. We talked a little bit about the movie and some angles to the dangle around the Apollo 13 experience that is fresh. And what's so important, actually, of course, is that he's probably one of, some would say not probably, some would say that he is the most important Biloxian ever when you consider what he has done to represent this community as he's gone onto the world stage. And of course, we recently, earlier this year, the community, Biloxi, erected a statue in his honor. And he's certainly super proud of that. But at the same time, he says there's been a lot of famous Biloxians. And of course, that's just him being humble. If you missed that conversation, I would strongly encourage you to go take a look and listen to it, because it's really good. It really is. So now let's shift gears. It's been a while since I've talked to our next guest, Jonathan Allen from J. Allen Automotive, All-Terrain Production. He's also in the restaurant business. He's just an entrepreneur. He cares a lot about coastal Mississippi. And as you find with business people who are smart and focused and whatever, they want to make their mark in different kinds of ways. And Jonathan's, no stranger to that. And anyway, welcome back to Coast Vue, Jonathan. How you been doing, buddy?
I've been doing great, Ricky, and thanks for having me back. It's always fun to be on your show.
Hey, we're going to cover a lot of territory. We are, but let's start with the way I kind of said that. I'm going to get an update on your business. I want to talk about what's going on in Bay St. Louis these days where you have a restaurant. It's amazing, actually, what's happening there. I talk about it all the time. But, what's interesting is that the sum total of your experiences make you an entrepreneur. You learn about business. You know about risk. You know about the financial side of things. You know what it takes to succeed. And, the more you learn, the more you sort of want to make your impact on others. And that sort of motivates you these days, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I feel like the economy is almost like a game that everybody's playing, and everybody's trying to get a financial leg up in this world and figure out what's their route and their path, and whether it's working at a car dealership or working at a restaurant and understanding the ebbs and flows of different industries. That's the stuff I'm following closely all the time. And if I can use my experience in education and knowledge of staying on top of this stuff to help somebody get the next leg up in their life, that's what I'm here for. That's what motivates me.
I love that thought, because it's about giving back. And, it's so interesting. Yeah, I've had the opportunity through this show. I've had over 600 shows, had the opportunity to talk to incredibly successful political leaders, incredibly successful nonprofit leaders, CEOs, entrepreneurs that have started incredible businesses, Biloxians that have gone off to doing unbelievable things with their careers. It's interesting, and I think about this. Obviously, one of the reasons I came back to do Coast Vue and SuperTalk Outdoors after having been retired for a little over 4 years, it's just when you are in the business of doing what you do and you continuously give back to the community, you realize that when you reach a certain level of success, that ultimately won't define your legacy. What will define your legacy is how you help others and how you give back to others. And that's a fair statement about most of the people that I talk to, including you.
Thank you for that. I agree. It's almost like a releasing an expectation of outcome, but doing everything you can within your power to just give back and hope for the best, and just keep doing it because the act feels good, and who knows what it'll generate. That's the fun part.
Yeah. Okay. So we've had a lot of visits, you and me, before the pandemic, during the pandemic. We've talked about the changing nature of the automotive business, and a lot of changes that are going to be basically part of the business going forward. This whole notion of ordering cars and this just-in-time inventory. The days of having these packed parking lots are probably behind us. We'll get more about that. The chip issue. Literally, as we speak, the Congress in Washington are considering significant, I think, over $50 billion. To begin to onshore again the chip making, which that we found that is a huge vulnerability in our overall system. But so there's a lot to talk about. Well, how do you describe how things are today for you guys in your particular dealership?
Well, you just said it, just changing constantly, and where we focus our time, attention, and effort, where it used to be empty out our big full lot of cars. Now it's how can we best prepare customers for the expectation of what's going on in the car market, and help them understand the shifts that we're seeing and how fast the shifts change. It's amazing. I'm like, the industry nationally is consolidating. Dealership owners and single point dealers like me are fewer and far between now, and the big guys are getting bigger. I mean, even here on the coast, there's not a whole lot of local owners left, but they all own multiple dealerships now, except for me.
Yeah.
And this is, and not all of them, but it's generally going this way across the country. And as fewer dealer groups basically own the retail process, you start getting that commoditization of automobiles, and the nature of the way it's been a negotiated business that people come and find what they want and make a deal based on an overflow of inventory. That stuff doesn't exist right now. And you said it, the manufacturers probably won't go back to having 300 Toyotas on the ground here in Gulfport, Mississippi, where we sell 100 to 150 new Toyotas a month. Well, that's a 2-month full supply, if not a little more than that. I don't think we'll go back to that, because all the commercials you would hear in car business of $3,000 off, $4,000 off, it's a customer cash incentive. Those were funded by the manufacturers. Well, they're not having to do that right now. So even selling fewer cars without those huge incentives is saving them money. And if they really decide that they are going to go fully to a just-in-time inventory process, it's going to change the name of the game in car business. And
that's incredible. Hey, Jonathan, when you think about this notion of scale, and just to describe what I mean, the point that you were making a minute ago, where the big guys are coming in and buying up things. You've seen it in the media business. You've seen it in the radio business. I mean, the owner of SuperTalk Mississippi Media, Steve Davenport, made a decision that he's not going to be part of a big conglomerate. He's going to keep it the local, or at least the ownership in Mississippi, and keep the focus on local news, local shows like this one, et cetera, et cetera. We're going, he's going to find, and has found, he's really effectively, I might add, he's found how to be a media company that's locally owned and not part of a big conglomerate. But man, this whole notion of scale has affected just about every industry. When you think about you and your auto dealership, What happens is the big money comes in. I see some of my farmer friends up in the Mississippi Delta, they're being offered, whereas it was, irrigated land was $5,000 an acre, they're being offered nearly $7,000 an acre now. It's almost impossible to hold out. And you've seen many of your dealer friends that have said, dude, they finally gave me a number I can't refuse. A little bit like the Godfather, an offer that they can't refuse. How do you maintain your competitive advantage and sustain your business with all that going on?
That is the right question for everybody in car business right now, is to decide.
Hey, let's do this, Jonathan. I didn't realize when I asked the question that we were coming to a break, and I know this is a longer than a minute answer. So when we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Jonathan Allen from J. Allen Automotive. Jonathan's involved in lots of entrepreneurial efforts. We'll get into some of that in the next segment, but we'll hear the answer to that question when we come back from break. We'll see you after this break. Welcome back to Coast Vue. I have Jonathan Allen from J. Allen Automotive, just a bright entrepreneur who cares deeply about coastal Mississippi. I was telling him during the break that I really enjoy him coming on the show and sort of talking about the current condition as it relates to automotive dealers. And, he's a good communicator. And if you're buying a car, if you're involved in the car buying process this day, whether it's a used car or a new car, you know that things have changed dramatically. And I really appreciate the fact that Jonathan's willing to come on and just talk to me about it authentically, about what his experience is. Hey, when we went to break, Jonathan, I mentioned to you, with all this scale, big companies and conglomerates buying up industries all over, sometimes it's hard for a local guy to sort of make do with all that going on around them. And I asked you about how do you sustain that over time, and you were about to answer, and we got to break, and I want to hear the answer now.
I think I said that's the right question. So the right question. If you don't represent multiple brands, which a lot of dealers do, that can be their diversification in automotive. Whether you have a domestic franchise, the F-150 has always sold very well. Toyota sells very well. A luxury franchise, that would pretty much cover a lot of demographics of people that buy cars. That's one way. But another route is to diversify in the automotive business and offer more automotive services than just, and I say just with a tongue in cheek, because we're already new car sales, used car sales, finance products, service parts. Some have body shops. We have a rental department. We have over 60 vehicles in a rental department, and we've got vans traveling the country on family vacations right now, and that's a way to diversify. We're looking at. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag too quick, because we're actually working on this right now. But we're looking at a revolutionary thing for here in South Mississippi when it comes to servicing your vehicle, and it won't just apply to Toyotas and our Toyota-based customers. But there's also all these aftermarket things. Statistically, people spend $2,000 to $5,000 on their car right after they buy it, and we would like to be a one-stop shop for all of that stuff. And we've got a good location, and we've got lots of people. And if the nature of car sales is changing, we'd like to reapply some of these people into other aspects of the automotive business, keep people employed, keep people making a good living. So it's really just, there's a lot of automotive out there, and you can decide to do more of it. And that's kind of what the direction we're heading.
What's interesting too is at the end of the day, and I love the way you said it, is that you sort of have to listen to your market. While you're in the business of selling cars, you're really in the business of helping people who have any automotive need, whether it be buying a vehicle, starting a vehicle, renting a vehicle, whatever it might be. But it's about listening to your audience, and customer always comes first. And if you're really serious about understanding what the customer's needs are, the conditions change in terms of what their needs. The pandemic changed everything, Jonathan. You know that. And if you're not adaptive and willing to turn on a dime, you could be in trouble as a business person, can't you?
Absolutely. I just finished my year as the Mississippi Auto Dealers Association chairman, and I got to talk to dealers all over the state of Mississippi, and some that have been in it for decades and decades. And nobody can say that they've been through anything like what we've just seen the last 2 years. So it's changing every day.
Hey, you mentioned this the last time. We're going to shift gears now. You mentioned last time that we were together that you've gotten engaged with Triple Tails Bar and Restaurant in Bay St. Louis. And listen, man, I talk about Bay St. Louis all the time, whether it be with Tish Williams from the Chamber there, who's terrific, or business leaders there, people who are engaged in the community who live there. But, I mean, the Bay St. Louis story is a very unique story. It's doing look, when you think about what Bay St. Louis had to do to come back after Katrina, you look at where they are today, the price of real estate in Bay St. Louis today. It's unbelievable what's happened in that town. I mean, the life, we talk about walkable community and great restaurants and just a wonderful nightlife. Man, that's a cool place, isn't it?
It really is. It really is. And I didn't know how good it was when we first started pursuing it until really spending some time there. And we closed December 20th on Triple Tails, and I was there for New Year's Eve. And seeing the street just fill up and seeing the oyster drop, I mean, it was a really neat time to know that this is South Mississippi right here. This is a really cool thing that's going on, and everybody in the town just wants it to continue and make it better and keep it clean and do it good, and that's, you get everybody just aligned in the right direction. That town's got a lot of potential. I mean, it's already there. I think you probably saw the top 50 coastal towns in America, and Ocean Springs was number 1, and Bay St. Louis was number 2. How about that? Two coastal Mississippi towns topping.
And then other metrics that have been really important, and that is now coastal Mississippi is the most affordable coastal community in the United States. Yep. So when you add it all up, I mean, of course, we already saw a lot of interest from Louisiana and Hancock County over all these years. So many. Now, a lot of homes got destroyed, second homes for Louisianians for Hurricane Katrina, and some of those didn't rebuild. But what happened now is, especially with the pandemic, you saw tremendous interest in Hancock County again from people from Louisiana. A lot of famous people are either built or on the beach there. But when you define a walkable community, that's the place. How's the restaurant doing?
The restaurant's doing good. I'm new to the restaurant industry, but I have 2 partners in this, and one of them had been familiar with food and beverage, and we do live music every night, and we've got bands booked through the end of the year, which is amazing. We have live music every night, Thursday through Sunday, and we're looking to open another day during the week, so we're figuring that out right now. And it's a growing process. We have a 3-story building, and the 3rd floor packs out every night, and we're looking to fill up the 2nd floor and get better at our food. And we got good food now, but there's always room for improvement. So that's what I bring to the table, is an endless pursuit of we can do better, and it's always better for the customer. So, but hey,
listen, I've had a guy named Josh Morgan on my show several times. He's from L.A. He's the top hurricane chaser in the world. He's chased the top hurricanes all over the world, and he rents a house in Bay St. Louis during the hurricane season. He has his main residence in L.A. He bought land in Bay St. Louis, and recently I think he posted, and he's got a lot of followers, but he posted from Triple Tails actually. I think he was there checking it out, and he walks there from the house that he leases and his new home that he's building. He'll be able to walk there from there as well, but. It's cool to see the people you run into. I mean, at any given day, half the people could not be from here, huh?
That's right. There's a ton of Louisiana folks that came over when New Orleans was still, passport COVID whatevers, and and whenever the more they tightened up, the more Bay St. Louis opened up, and it was good for us, and I'm proud to be over there. Events like Jeep in the Coast and Pirates Day, those were big days over there. A lot of fun. I can't wait for our first time having it for cruising the coast.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's going to be really good. Hey, so describe the restaurant to me for people who are interested to go over there and check it out. Describe it to me.
Okay, so it's 3 stories. It's all green, and at night you've got some it's not neon. It's rope light, but looks like neon green all around the outside of it. It's really cool looking. We have live music every night. Basically, the doors open up. It's open air. It's a good bar and restaurant. And the live music we bring in, we call it belly rubbing music. It makes you want to dance with your sweetie. That's the way we put it. And kind of the theme for Triple Tails, because it's basically on the 3rd floor, is you got to get up to get down. That's the way we say it. And it's a fun place to go. We're not open into the wee hours of the morning, but we do. We've got good selection of food and beverage, and a good group of people that come regularly. So it's
with someone like you who is an entrepreneur who didn't know food and beverage, as you pointed out, does it give you a kind of a queasiness in your in your stomach to say, I'm going to invest in this?
Yes, it does. But the food and beverage part was the part I know the least about, but I used to DJ long back in my high school days, and video and music production. I've always understood that, and I've always liked creating an environment. So this live music was really a draw for me. And also just the growth of the economy in Bay St. Louis also made it an attractive position to pursue. And it's just, I mean, I have to admit, the entrepreneurial spirit is there. I know I'm taking a risk, but it's a calculated risk. That's what we do. And I feel good about it. And I feel good about coastal Mississippi.
Well, it's a great location, obviously. I mean, when I say great, it's in Bay St. Louis, but in Bay St. Louis, it's a great location. It's of course, then it's in Bay St. Louis and Hancock County, which is really on fire. And if you have a good product, again, it's just the same as the way you've adapted your automotive business. You have to adapt this business so that people want to come there and have sort of, when we think about brand is the emotional connection someone has with a product. It's the emotional connection. So if you create a good connection, you're going to be successful. And sounds like so far so good for you.
Oh, I'm having fun. I can't lie, Ricky. I'm having fun, and I like to see where the coast is going, and like to be a part of it.
That is really awesome. Hey, listen, before we leave, one of the things you mentioned at the very beginning is that if an entrepreneur, a young entrepreneur, is interested in going in business and wants to have a conversation with Jonathan, what would you recommend they do?
Goodness, I'm so glad you brought this up, because I've been looking to mentor and to coach young people in getting past those initial phases of being an entrepreneur. I had to learn them crash course style, but I was pursuing it for a very long time. You can reach me at the Toyota dealership, or you can email me,jallen@jallentoyota.com. I'll get back with somebody that seriously wants to spend an hour or two talking about where do I go, how do I do this. If it's financial management for 16 to 20-year-olds, I'm all over that. I see a lot of financial scenarios where people can really improve just by doing a few things. So,
wow, Jonathan, that's awesome. Again, it goes back to the spirit of giving back to the community, and appreciate your willingness to do that. Hopefully somebody will take you up on it. Hey, it's been a pleasure to catch up with you, man. We need to get together more often.
Always good, Ricky. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You bet. This has been Jonathan Allen from J. Allen Automotive and just Coast Entrepreneur. When we come back, we're going to talk about a really, really important nonprofit effort that's underway to help feed more people. We'll see you after this break.